now, right? 10 seconds maybe. We're live.
Okay, good evening and welcome. My name is Kamala Fenter. I am a instant payment subject matter expert representing Accenture. My background has been in payment systems from the very beginning. I have throughout my career been a part of over 11 mission critical system implementations related to RTGS, CSD, and of course, instant payments. However, my role here tonight is as a moderator, and it is my great pleasure to be here with you tonight. This evening, we will be discussing Sarie and the impact that Sarie has had on and within the KSA financial industry. With over 50 plus central infrastructure providers worldwide having already implemented or are in the process of implementing instant payment systems, I think it's safe to say that instant payment schemes have enormous potential. And I'd just like to pause here for one moment and again congratulate the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia for the successful implementation and go live of Sarie. Having been a part of this momentous achievement has been a highlight in my career. Tonight, I'm joined by members from and within the KSA financial industry. And as I introduce them one by one, I'll give each of them an opportunity to introduce themselves to you. Let's start with the ladies. Alanuth.
Thank you, Camilla. I'm Hanouf Sbai, heading the institutional product categories in Saudi payment within the business development team, where the Sarie, the instant payment system, Sadat is Khalfon under it. With experience more than 10 years in payment and banking industry. Thank you.
Maria, to you.
Hello, everyone. Ladies, gentlemen, Saudi FinTech and the esteemed panel. My name is Maria Medvedeva. I lead the country business development for Saudi Arabia, and it is my pleasure to be on a panel with all of you here and to share some global insights and experiences from Saudi implementation.
Welcome, Maria. Bassam, over to you. Bassam, I think you are muted. Yeah.
Thank you, Camilla. Thank you, Camilla. Hi, everyone. Bassam Aidi, Head of Chief Digital Banking and Innovation Officer for Bank Al Bilad, actually having the digital transformation journey for retail, corporate, as well as Injaz for the enterprise. Thank you.
Fantastic. Hatan, over to you.
Yes, hello, everyone. Thank you for this opportunity. My name is Hatan Bahanchal. I am from Bank Al Jazeera, working in the project management office, heading that department with an experience of 20 years in project management and banking industry. It's a pleasure to have this opportunity with you, everyone, and our grateful audience. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Again, welcome to our panelists and welcome to our audience. I now hand over to my esteemed colleague Alanuth from Saudi Payments, who will provide us with a brief introduction and overview on Sarie.
Thank you, Camilla. I'm facing an issue while trying to share my screen. Okay, here we are.
Perfect, we can see it.
Yeah, thank you, Camilla. First, I would like to take this opportunity to congratulate everyone in the successful implementation for the Sarie, the instant payment system in Saudi market. And here I would like to share with you a high-level introduction to Sarie. A 3-slide. Mainly, I will focus on the importance of instant payment and what have been implemented so far. So from here, we can shine the light on the beginning of Sarie program journey and explain why instant payment is important. Simply, we can mention or say that it's a market needs. And here we can, or I will elaborate more on the key drivers that defined as the major or the most important drivers for such changes. First driver, technology push, where the dramatic increase in connected mobile devices that can initiate a transaction drives the move to instant or digitally enabled account. Also, the development of instant capability at the infrastructure level, based on a research that have been conducted on the customer behavior and from global population side. They found that 71% using the mobile or smartphone, and I'm sure that we are all expecting increase in the smartphone usage during the upcoming years. Also 91% internet penetration and more than 65% digital optimism. Second driver for this is the market pull, where the changing in customer expectation leads these, or the demands of the customer lead the majority of the changes in the industry. Changing the consumer behavior, for instance, peer-to-peer or person-to-business transaction, consumer expectation to have instant access, connectivity, and always on lifestyle, where they are driving demand for instant solution whenever they are capable to reach. Third driver related to the disruptor. We have a number of easily accessible digital solution provider or disruptor in the market. So by having this mature, stable infrastructure will open the window or the market for both regionally and international players to jump in and provide us with enhanced, improved solution or system that related to the payment. Also, the regulatory push-driven such kind of implementation or solution or technology, driven by the financial sector, financial development sector program, where we know that it aims to increase the or reduce the cash transaction and up to 70%. Beside that, there are many objectives related to financial sector development program to support the SMEs, enable the fintechs and financial institution, and provide more digitized infrastructure or solution to the market. Moving forward and to Sarie and what it makes it instant, we have 4 main players for this. First of all, the availability, 24/7, where the user can initiate the transaction anytime, anywhere, even during weekend, Eid holiday, or whenever he wants to initiate it, even after the working hour, and the fund will be immediate to the available to the beneficiary's account. Certainty, where the transparency of the system, we will notify, or the system will notify both on spot, both receiver and sender, that the transaction have been conducted successfully and the fund is available now in their account, and a confirmation that the transaction is completed for the sender. Also immediate, what do we mean by having said it's immediate? It's fast, so the instant payment, or when the user press pay on his or her device or computer, fund will be directly credited to the beneficiary's account. From the other side, once the fund is, or the transaction or the fund is completely credited into this account, the transaction will not be cancelled or recalled. So it's a revocable system where the fund cannot, or the transaction cannot be cancelled. So this is why we are calling it instant. And here we can see what is the main functionalities that have been implemented in the current implementation for Sarie and available in our market. First of all, and one of the must or the majority of the implementation for Sarie is adopting the ISO 20022. It's a messaging standard, as we all aware. So the core advantage of instant payment system that have been implemented is that the transaction use the ISO 20022 messaging format, a new format that will be used by the majority of the financial industry around the globe. By having this, we are providing a richer and a high quality data using more fields, better structure, and improved the flexibility to adapt a new businesses and services in the market. Single credit transfer, where it's available now, and everyone, I'm sure they are having tried to transfer among his account in different banks or to anyone using the Sarie features or the instant payment transfer. Support 24/7 from all aspects, where it's available for the users, for the consumer, for the corporate, available support from operational side or bank side or even Sarie side, to support the transaction, anytime monitoring it and managing the system and everything around it, like the limit and etc. Portal for participant, where we are providing a direct access for our participant, our banks, to monitor their customer transaction, monitoring their limit, and generate any report related to their transactions. Last functions I would like to talk about it here, where we are allowing the banks to offer services to their customer, initiate the transaction by using the proxy or the alias. Meanings, anyone can initiate a transaction if it under the quick limit transfer limit, using the either the national ID, الإقامة number, passport number, commercial registration number, or any other, or even the email address. So this is the current functionalities that available for both our participant, our bank, and extended to the market overall. Thank you all.
Thank you, Alana, for that very, very insightful overview of Sarie. In fact, it's very exciting times. Alanuf, while you have been very, very deeply involved in the implementation of Sarie from the very beginning. So could you tell us maybe how does Sarie fit in with the Vision 2030? You are on mute.
So thank you.
Okay.
So Camilla, I'm heavily engaged in several initiatives or payment initiatives that related to financial sector development program as one of the value realization program of Vision 2030, where we are aiming to create a thriving financial sector that serve as a key enabler to support national economy by having the diversified and effective payment ecosystem. So in our opinion, part of our contribution in achieving the known financial sector development program objectives, such as digitize the economy, increase the transparency, increase the cashless transaction, enable payment ecosystem by providing secure and reliable infrastructure, introduce even innovative payment solution, is the creation of a payment trail.
I'm here to, advocate and fight for you.
Somebody is, there we go. Okay, sorry about that, Alana.
Okay, that support instant credit transfer payment. With this in mind, we initiated a program for the implementation of instant payment system, and alhamdulillah, it has been successfully launched. Besides that, so the payment consider these as a strategic move in taking the financial ecosystem of the kingdom toward a digitized future. We believe doing so will form the base of future-proof rails for payment, better service for consumer, and the foundation of state-of-the-art funds transfer and in general. This will allow the industry to flourish and develop along with the world's benchmark for modern societies, I believe.
Okay, thank you, Alif. I think it's clear from the overview that you just provided, and with what you've just said, that an instant payment scheme transforms the way in which we transact, and it really does in fact support the objective of digitization and driving towards a cashless society, which I think is high on the priority list of most countries now, especially considering the the recent pandemic that we've all experienced. I think has to a large extent accelerated a move towards cashless transactions. Thank you. Bassam, over to you. Can I maybe ask, from your opinion, historically payments were made during banking hours, so ideally, let's say 8 to 5 for argument's sake, and this was so that they could be verified and authenticated. So how now are banks responding to the fact that Sarie operates on a 24/7 basis? And as Alanuf pointed out, it's instant. So how are banks responding to this new way of working, how are payments being verified and authenticated?
Clear. Thank you, Camilla. But if you may allow me, before answering your question, I would like to thank Sama team, Sarie Payments, and all Sarie banks who were participating into this success story, and actually that we are here today to talk about. You can imagine the synergies, the efforts, and the engagements, and all the collaboration that was between the all work group team members who worked during the launch period. Really, they have put relentless efforts to make it a successful implementation in a very short time period. And coming back to your question, actually, if we go back to the very old history and where banking was only through branches, maybe to initiate a payment or to do any kind of transactions and then go through the conventional process of verification and authentication. Nowadays, I believe with the adoption of a new digital customer journeys and availing most of the transactions and services to be done remotely and through digital channels, it made the initiation and the execution of any transaction easily and smoothly being conducted within our thorough digital verification and authentication process being done through, I would say, those digital channels are mostly outside of banking hours. Today, customers actually, they can have bank accounts being opened digitally without visiting any of the branches. And this is happening actually outside of the banking hours. And this is happening due to full integration with different service parties or data service providers that they can proceed immediately and conduct any type of transactions once they get verified and authenticated through those service providers. Immediately, they can go to the bank mobile app or the digital channels that they prefer to use, and they can start conducting any kind of Sarie payments, MOI payments, or even done any kind of local payments. And between brackets, we could say it is a Sarie transaction or even a cross-border transaction. I believe with the coming open banking solution as well, I would believe the service would be available to the customers, not only outside of banking hours, and even it would be happening out of the banking ecosystem. And I believe all of what I've mentioned now wouldn't be a reality today without the efforts that have been put from multiple entities which have furnished and implemented actually a full pro digital infrastructure. That actually enabled all of the FIs that to be able to reach that level of digital maturity. I believe we could give that credit to the central bank, Sarie Payments, and NIC for providing such interoperable 24/7 enabled infrastructure, which enabled and supported performing the banking transactions and authentication and verification of those customers digitally to perform the required activity.
Thank you, Bassam. You actually took some of my next question right out of my mouth.
I'm sorry.
Where I actually wanted to ask, how you as banks actually had to adapt your processes and systems to prepare for this. But from what you've just said, and maybe you can add on, but there was a whole, besides the momentous effort that the financial industry put into it, to a large extent, banks were ready for Sarie?
Okay, if we were talking about the processes that we had to adapt to prepare for ourselves for Sarie, I would be saying four verticals or four different aspects that we were looking into. Three of them, which is related mainly into the business, and the fourth is related more into the team collaboration that happened during the last period. Sorry. If you're talking about the three business requirement that has to be considered thoroughly, I would talk about safety, availability, and latency of those type of transaction. Talking about safety, we're talking here mainly about AML and fraud and how banks can have done lots of changes to make sure that they can optimize their current screening process to be instant and real time, just to make sure that the transaction is legitimate. Moving towards the latency, I believe that until recent period where Sarie was executed by completing a series of actions or a type of a sequential basis, we had to revisit the process where some or even most of those activities have to be done on simultaneous basis and at the same time. And we're talking here about a very short time period, talking about maybe 1-digit seconds, not more than that, in order to be instant. Part of this activity actually is reconciliation and settlement for that transaction. And as El-Hanouf mentioned, it is an instant payment. You have to notify both parties at the same moment that the transaction have been initiated and delivered. And third thing that I would talk about, which is availability. I believe we had to change the way we were performing and executing most of the transactions. So instead of running into batches, it has to be running into transaction by transaction basis. And it would require all systems interacting and integrated to this process to stay active all the time in order to be able to process lots of transactions even outside of the working hours. I believe that had required lots of changes from architecture solutioning perspective. Definitely with the implementation of, I would say, the solution of the preparation for Sarie would be different from a bank to another. But most of an important and critical thing that those PSP has or have to consider two main aspects, which is agility and scalability in their solutions. The change that has going to come to the industry due to the introduction of the IPS, I believe would be significant and would be happening across all banking business verticals. So I believe that we have to be prepared enough for that.
Thank you. Thank you. That was very, very, very helpful. Maybe with that, on that note, I ask Hatan. So we've heard that, we know that, instant payment schemes have endless potential, but we've also just heard from Bassam that there are some real challenges, right? So in your opinion, what challenges and opportunities does Sarie create for banks?
Thank you. I would like just to also take a moment to appreciate and thank all banks who participated with us for the launch of this successful project. Saudi Payments Management, Saudi Payments team, and of course SAMA as the central bank for Saudi Arabia for their support to get this project successfully launched. Really, it's a very challenging project, and I think the collaboration and the team worked across all the banks prove that us as a team can achieve many big deliverables and many big challenges for the kingdom and for the sake of our vision for 2030. Thank you, everyone. I would like to start by the opportunities first and then move to the challenges, because once we get the foundation of opportunities, I'm sure the challenges will be understandable, and we will understand how the opportunities outweigh those challenges. We're willing to sweat for those challenges because of those opportunities. I would say the first opportunity because of Sarie now in the kingdom is that we laid the foundation and the infrastructure for a digital payment system. This is a monumental moment in the history of Saudi Arabia. We have set up the stage, the cornerstone for the future. We will be attracting a lot of opportunities from fintechs, foreign companies, local companies, entrepreneurs to start and gear up their services and their products and their businesses in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. And this is a very important opportunity that we have laid across by working on the instant payment of Sarie. Another very important opportunity now that we created and because of Sarie is the cashless society. When we look at cashless society, yes, it's the ease of service and the people are more attracted and the baby boomers are now more using mobile phones. But again, the cost to save money, store money, protect money, handle cash, this is an opportunity to reduce all that hassle and all the logistics and operational backgrounds that comes with managing cash and managing notes. So if you look at it as, let's say, a liquidity circulation, this is a very important opportunity for the banks, for the kingdom itself, when we look at how Sarie will help and move forward with that opportunity. Another important aspect I would like to show and share, the e-commerce, the trade business in Saudi. It will have a different ball game now, because now businessmen, entrepreneurs, companies will be paid on time, will be paid faster. You expect service to be delivered faster. You will see less discussion of tomorrow. You will get that money, so tomorrow we will deliver. The trade business in Saudi Arabia will have a different pillar of engagement within the kingdom. And coming from a banking industry, I think Bassam also will share this view. Let's say we level the playing field now by having an instant payment with non-banking companies and fintechs who are also now engaged with these payment services. So now we have a good chance when it comes to participating and working on a, let's say, a balanced playground to offer instant payments for the society, for the consumer, for companies, and for the market itself. This is, I would say, a view of a high level of the magnitude of opportunities that the Sarie will set the stage and give the foundation moving forward in years to come. When it comes to the challenges, I think one of the main challenges that we will be facing is the customer and the engagement and the consumer behavior. Once you get used to something fast, you will come up with what is faster. So this will drive innovation. It will drive, let's say, more focus on what is next, because we have seen the human behavior and we understand that that they expect things to be much faster. I think another challenge that we will be looking at is the attention and the service to be provided 24/7. We know we can pay anytime, 24/7. Our colleague Al Hanouf just mentioned during Eid. So people are not used to make any transfers during Eid. They know that I'll have to wait 4 or 5 days to make any transfers. Now they will be transferring, they will be using during Eid, which means support should be available 24/7. Customer care should be available 24/7. My monitoring tools, my monitoring system, my troubleshooting system should be available 24/7. So I think this is also a challenge that is to be addressed and to be maintained when it comes to having Sarie as a foundation for the instant payment solution. I would wrap up the plus and minuses between, let's say, the opportunities and where we can go forward, and the challenges is definitely no challenge is bigger than the opportunities that we are having now with the instant payment system and Sarie. Again, it is the foundation, it is the pillar for the future of digital banking, digital payments, the money ecosystem, the economical ecosystem for the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. That is, in, let's say, a quick wrap views about these challenges and opportunities that comes with Sarie.
Thank you, Atan. I couldn't have summarized that better myself. Indeed, there are challenges, but you make me very excited with the potential benefits and the potential of the system. Wow. Okay, so maybe a follow-up question for you, Hatan, is which customers or which stakeholders do you think are going to benefit most from Sarie?
The customers, all the banking customers, they will benefit from Sarie. So we're talking about corporations, big companies, individuals, home-based business men and women, entrepreneurs, and definitely it can be scaled up for future to have the services of payments and the services for the big organization. I would not be surprised that payroll, direct debit, click-to-pay services will all be moved to the Sarie system and the instant payment system. And I truly believe that instant payment will create a new customer type in the market. Let's say it's between banking and non-banking industries, that they will be juggling and increase the competition between moving forward with banking, a reliable banking industry to have their services provided by them. So in general, or in a nutshell, I would say most of the customers are using it and they will be using it, but still the potential, we still have a gap with big corporations, with the increase of services that will definitely very soon see the light with the support of Saudi Payments and SAMA to make sure that we are serving all customers and all corporations and all individuals in the kingdom. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Hatan. That was very, very insightful. On that note, I'd like to ask Maria. So Hatan touched on some of the potential that is yet to be realized in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. So I'd like to ask you, in your opinion, how does the Sarie system compare to instant payment systems in other countries? And how do you feel that Sarie has helped or challenged the fintech industry globally? You're on mute.
Thank you, Camilla, for the question. And I'm very proud to be a part of the current panel discussion. And also I'm proud to be coming to Saudi at this time, because after 18 months of this very hard work among all ecosystem participants, including Saudi Central Bank and Saudi Payments and all of the financial institutions, we are now at the point where we actually launch the system. And frankly, Bassam, Hatan, I was there with you, not sleeping at nights on the day of the launch. And it was very exciting to observe the first transactions, the settlements, and looking at the entire system from outside, from the global standpoint. I can share with you an example that this was the largest launch in the world. The last launch of a successful ecosystem was in, or biggest launch, was in UK about 10 years ago. That average transaction value of that launch for residents was 150 Saudi riyals. If you know how we started, our launch was 2,500 Saudi riyals as a lead. So you can imagine with the amount of transactions that took place in Saudi Arabia, how momentous of the occasion it was and how much volume we processed with no settlement issues. That's one aspect of how great the partnership was, but also looking at number of participants. When UK started with a smaller neighborhood concept, which is 3-4 banks, and we are within 3 months. And we are entering, and we are talking about 3 months, 24 ecosystem participants, whether it is retail or other financial institutions. So to compare this launch, by far, among UK, USA, Singapore, and Thailand, where real-time payment systems have been dominating by us, we can see that this launch is the most successful and well implemented and well executed by Saudi Payments. So also wanted to just thank Hanouf, your team, and everyone working in Saudi Payments for driving this so efficiently, with IBM being our infrastructure partner and MasterCard being the solution provider of the system. So of course, this is in line with Saudi Vision 2030. We are excited about that. So I've been looking at how we personally influence and change the culture, influence the monetization and digitization of the economy. It's exciting to see this. And from my perspective, then this is a foundation. We've built a foundation via real-time payment systems. Now we need to build up upon them with different applications and also with different layers of security around the systems. When we discuss the payment strategy of the country, we need to look at all different aspects, including the foundations, like building a house. In a house, you need to build the foundation and then slowly implement different payment methods. And that's where I'm thinking about P2P payments, which is the foundation of retail and initial stage. But going beyond that, Saudi Arabia implemented multi-proxy service. And Camila has asked me not to be very technical, so I'll not go into all the details. But from my perspective, multi-proxy service allows for P2P transactions to be processed through email, phone, digital ID or national ID card, while it can take it further to B2B business, where your tax ID, your commercial identification also is a part of Saria, and take it even further to the government subsidies payments. So the use cases of Saria or real-time payment system with various application layers on the top of it can go all the way from P2P to B2B, all with the government payments, which is very exciting and have been implemented in Thailand and Singapore. And there are some significant examples of that. To also add on, and I have so many examples from across the world that I would like to share with you, is that to give you an example of how a system really can be used. Tesco in UK. Tesco has a credit card arm, a financial arm. You can actually go to a Tesco app and try to pay for credit card, which automatically opens a Barclays app, if you have a Barclays account, and reroutes back to Tesco and pays on real-time payment rails. Of course, it uses open APIs via open banking technology, but the foundation layer of the Rails is a real-time payment system. So this is just one of the applications of how globally this could have been used and could be extended to Saudi Arabia. Another example is the fact that in Singapore, which is really developed in the fintech space, they have opened up the real-time payment initially from the FIs or financial institutions into first corporations, and they adjusted the system for large corporates to transact in the system effectively by getting all feedback of ecosystem participants and then adjusting the system. And the second thing we've done, they opened it to fintechs. So it's also applicable to UK there, where you have Monzo and Revolut exactly using the system, and half of the system used is on the real-time payment rails, and another half is on the card rails. So this is just an example of how the real true payment ecosystem can be utilized by the banking and the fintech participants as a well-rounded extended scope.
Thank you, Maria. I can see you're just as passionate as I am about instant payment, which is fantastic. On that, maybe like dreaming a little bigger, do you see scope for the development of an international IPS scheme?
I think it's very ambitious to think that regulators across the world would unite and become interoperable. Specifically, as you know, I mean, there is a lot of adaptation that has to be done in terms of just, let's say, a message standards. We are on ISO 2022, they are on a different ISO method, right? So everyone out there requires a lot of adaptation, and regulators across the world have started doing that. And in fact, we have certain projects utilizing our distributed ledger technology. So MasterCard is beyond standard technologies. We have a scope going above and beyond of the card and real-time payment rails into a distributed ledger, into new currencies. So we are piloting in Europe, where regulators already have started to look at cross-border and into various interoperability methods to look at how we can do that. But this is a long path to interoperability across the regions, I believe.
Yeah, I said let's dream big for a second.
It is a dream.
Then, okay, do you, on that note, do you think that IPS could potentially contribute or fulfill the need for cross-border payments?
So the national cross-border payments traditionally cover, as we call it, the last mile, which is the domestic side of the payments. You could potentially, let's say in a bill payment application of real-time payment, issue a transaction or a bill in dollars and let the participants pay from their dollar account. But the utilization of this is just really not practical. So in a larger scale, the only countries that undertook real-time payment beyond the borders have been Nordics. In Nordics, they are exploring some type of infrastructure for merging the Nordic currencies and euro. That has been in place and piloted from the cross-border payments. We also work with some of the national clearing houses, but again, traditionally transactions are domestic. So I want to just bring this up, is that this system traditionally drives financial and non-financial transactions of domestic, but could be incorporated and could drive cross-border with technical modifications.
Thank you, Maria. That was really insightful. Now turning back to Alanuf. Alanuf, I'm interested to gain deeper insights into your views on the envisioned importance of Sarie for the people of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. What difference do you think that Sarie is making to their everyday lives?
So personally, I can say that Sarie will open a new chapter in a payment industry overall. Also, it will impact the whole ecosystem, which will lead for a greater integration between parties, either if they are financial, institutional bank, and integrate them with the instant payment system itself, or integrate between each other to provide a solution. Here we can, from player perspective, it's not only people life which will be impacted by implementing such solution. I can say that there are around 4 categories. Each in turn has its great potential to improve or to be impacted by the implementation of instant payment. We have the business-to-business sector, where everything can be enhanced and improved. For example, we can improve the way where the supplier and buyer exchange their invoice and the payment for it. That can be instantly using, for example, the request to pay functionalities. We have also the business to consumer. During day-to-day activities, there is a communication from business to consumer, which takes times in communication and transfer the fund, the claims, if any, for example, and use cases that will be enhanced and impact the life of people eventually. We can talk about the insurance claim, where the fund immediately will be in the consumer account. Also, we have the consumer to business, where they benefit from the services or product that the corporate provide, and they have to pay the bills, for example, hospital hospital bills also. So these activities will be improved, affected directly by the implementation of instant payment system. We will raise the quality of payment, let's say, live, by simplify, speed the process of the payment, make it easier, available everywhere and anytime. The fourth category, where it will enhance the communication between people, each other, the payment for friends, for family, for any reason, this will be like this. No time, the fund will be transferred between account to another, regardless what was the needs for it or what is the situation. So in general, it will impact every sector, not only the individual, fintechs, financial banks, the users or the people who will using it in the market.
Thank you, Alanif. And I thank all our panelists now for your valuable insights and the information that you shared so freely here tonight. Sarie really is an impressive success story, one that I'll be telling for many years to come, I'm sure. As a final question, and I ask this to all of you, after IPS, what's next? What is the next evolution when it comes to payments? Let's start with Alanuf.
Okay, thank you, Camilla. What next is the improvement and raising the quality of everything we have, raising my expectation about the services that the society or the financial sector will provide to me as a beneficial from these services. Whatever the future evolution of payment may hold, I'm confident that here in Saudi will be ready to impress it further push the boundaries, together reach our future. So from my perspective, I'm raising the expectation from all aspects, what the financial sector will provide to me, what we are in a financial sector will provide to support, improve the services that our users or people will using it.
Thank you, Alanif. Maybe Maria, what do you think is the next big thing?
Sure. So I'm a dreamer. So I believe in two new exciting areas that Saudi Arabia is currently undertaking and is really excelling. So one of them is open banking, and I'm sure Basram, you agree with me. We just spoke about open banking. I do believe that with the regulations on open banking coming, we will establish how to incorporate the open banking into the real-time payment system, as all the systems should be interoperable. And the second area where I also think that could differentiate Saudi Arabia is that central bank digital currencies. It's a hot topic now. CBDCs are gaining acceptance. So from our perspective, this is something that we also would like to work with Saudi Payments on further to make acceptance and interoperability of such central bank currencies, and so that the settlement can be in local fiat currency. I believe those two areas is something that we are working closely with regulators and with Saudi Payments on, and we'll be advocating in the country.
Thank you, Maria. Thank you so much. Bassam, over to you. What do you think is the next big thing?
I have a continuation on what Maria just mentioned, is the digital currency with a cross-border international instant payment interoperable solution would definitely make the remittance business different. And I believe that the financial industry will see a rise of new business models that will come to the industry, and unfortunately it will demise some of the others current business models that I would say it's a conventional business model that will not be able to continue anymore.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. I think after Al-Hanouf, Maria, Bassam, what they shared and they discussed, there is no room for innovation anymore. But I think in my professional and my personal opinion, the next big thing when it comes to the payments, it will be, let's say, social payments. The integration with your social medias, your tools, your instant chatting application that we use. I think this is something big, and I predict that it's coming very soon. The customer behavior tendency now to go to log in or to sign into an application or a bank or whatever to transfer. As I said before, this is fast? Thank you. What is faster? So I think they would like to pay while they tweet, or they pay while they text or stream or post their story, something on that front. I honestly believe this is the next big thing that maybe Saudi Payment will make us busy with in the next period, maybe.
Thank you, Hatan. Well, whatever it is, I hope I'm there and a part of it, as I was with the Sarie journey. I take this opportunity to thank each and every one of our panelists for being here with us this evening, and to our audience. I hope you found this as interesting as I did. And with that, I say good evening, stay well, and stay very, very safe.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.